Good morning, Bull City, Durham, North Carolina. Welcome to the first virtual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, celebrating the legacy through the arts. Normally done on site here at the historic WD Hill Recreation Center. This is an annual event brought to you by Durham Parks and Recreations. I am your host, Zaid Malik Shakur, along with
Hi, I'm Kelsey Warren, also your host for today.
Oh, superstars in the building. So listen, we're gonna have a great time. We welcome you. We're really, really excited to have so many people, especially with this unprecedented event going on in our lives. So we wanted to begin today with a short 15-minute town hall discussion. The prompts will be on your chat, and we do ask that you be polite and respectful in your responses, and that we keep everything to about a minute, maybe a minute and a half in terms of conversation, so we can keep the conversation going. Okay. This is really, really strange to do without an audience that doesn't give the energy back, but that's okay because I understand. I can feel it through the screen already. So, our first conversation piece will be, we're waiting as it goes, how COVID has affected our community. Um, it's been a struggle as a teacher, I know. So I'm interested in hearing from parents, not just from the health effects, but also the mental effects, psychological effects in terms of dealing with being quarantined, stuck inside, especially with you having children or any of you young people who want to express your feelings. I know I have people listening from around the country, not just Durham, North Carolina. So I'm interested to hear how it affects you directly. So we're going to take a seat and we're going to listen. We're going to open the floor up to you guys and allow you to begin. You can go ahead and unmute and speak when you like.
She worked with me. Oh, they can see you.
We can start. Yes, ma'am. So the floor is open if anyone wants to express themselves. Be mindful, we are being recorded for a later rebroadcast. So anyone who doesn't want to have their voice heard, I understand. We would really love to see your faces and we would really love to hear from you.
Well, I guess we can kind
Fill
of get
some
the
dead
ball
space.
rolling.
Yeah, sure, let's
So
do that.
definitely with COVID this year, it's changed the dynamic in how we interact with one another. I know for sure. Um, we have a hand raised right here, but I know I have a younger cousin who is a first year teacher, and so starting out with her first year in education, she has to one, learn how to command attention of fourth graders. Two, um, make herself comfortable in a very different time. So this is something that she's never been prepared for. I know teachers who have taught for a long time, they understand how to reel students in, they understand how to get their classes going, but first year teachers, first year, instructors, this is something very new to them within their career, but also, learning how to navigate teaching during a time where even children, they don't know how to make sense of what's going on. So it's definitely been a process for everyone involved. And I would definitely like to hear from parents um, how they've been able to kind of create a new normal for their children during this time.
So Tasha, go ahead. Hey,
COVID,
Harper. One of our
COVID
students.
affects my life because it affects in a very bad way, which is uh we can't go to many exhibits in the museum.
Mm.
Also, some places are being permanently closed until the coronavirus is over.
That's a good point.
And
That's a good
also,
point.
we won't be able to do hugs or high fives with each other.
Yeah, yeah, and that's been a big issue. Harper is one of our students from St. Cia Academy. He's one of my students. Fantastic young man. And I can echo his sentiment. Part of teaching is the connectivity. So a part of the scholastic experience as being missed, especially at our school, are the hugs, the intimate high fives, and the handshakes or the pats on the back. And in terms of teaching online, it absolutely curtails differentiation. It makes it really, really hard to address the multiple intelligences that we have to deal with. So it's a challenge, not impossible, but a challenge to be sure. Um, I'm looking for interaction. We don't want to dominate the conversation at all. And I am a mouthpiece, so I will get the goings. Anyone else has an opinion or a feeling on this specific prompt? Shawnee Tanae.
Yes. Hi. Hey, Zay.
Hey, this is my sister
Hey.
from Georgia.
Hey, thank you so much for putting on this event. I might sound out of breath. I'm literally on the treadmill as we speak. But that I'd stop by to experience the event. But I guess that's a point for me. Just the mental exhaustion that the virus has brought on myself and people that I love, and just trying to find outlets to get all that energy out. And so I've really leaned into working out. And so I'm on the treadmill right now. And so not being able, I'm an outdoorsy person. I love to travel. That's all I did before the pandemic. So not having that outlet to be able to go explore the world, see different cultures, and just being stuck in the house has really hit me in a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual way. And so just trying to find ways to connect to God and connect and get my health better during this time. But I think really it's impacted health because I've been eating bad, not really staying on track. So now in the new year, trying to really get my health in check. But I
Right.
guess that's for me.
Do you think that many of your peers have experienced some of the same feelings and situations?
Yeah, I mean, we joke around with my friends with like the Corona 15. So that's like the Corona gaining 15 pounds.
Right.
I can attest to that. I've literally gained about 15 pounds since the virus, or since we've been on lockdown.
Yeah.
So just yeah, the mental impact, the physical impact, just not feeling like yourself, because you're not able to do the things like, because normally I'd be outside running or like at the gym. I don't even go to the like public gym anymore.
Right.
Things like that. So definitely all of my friends have experienced some kind of health impact. I've had friends who had the virus, and so just not being able to see my friends that I see on a regular basis. So just that connection is lost.
Thank you. Thank you. Kathleen, I see you peeking into the camera. Do you have something you'd like to share?
Oh, well, I'm sort of navigating
Absolutely.
but sure, yeah, we were just sort of chatting about how COVID has affected us, and I have a second grader and a 3-year-old, and so for us, everything is. I'm a teacher. I'm a DPS teacher.
Yes. Shout out to the teachers.
Yeah, right. Figuring it out, and I have an 8-month-old as well, and so the two younger ones are in school, like in person in childcare, because I don't know how else I would teach otherwise. So for us, everything is about mitigated risk, and we have sort of just been talking a lot in our family and like with our virtual and church community about how everything is 5 more decisions. You know, every decision you make as a teacher, as a parent, as just a person, is sort of 5 more decisions, right? You have to think about all the risks to you, to your family, to the community. And so there's a lot of decision exhaustion, like even right now, sort of coming off mute. PJ, who's in 2nd grade and generally a pretty extroverted kid, was like, well, is it recorded? And if it's recorded, who's going to see it? And how do I, like, what is it I'm supposed to say? And are they going to ask me questions? And there's just a lot more, there's a lot more conversation around every single decision
Absolutely, absolutely. I
for
can
us.
understand that. I can see where that would be a good thing as long as the conversation is navigated most of the time, because it does open up communication. But to be sure, um, yes, this is being videoed to be released again on YouTube. You are only asked to be as honest as you are comfortable with, and those are the guidelines. You know, we're all about a respectful and positive communication, honoring Dr. King's legacy of speaking to one another as opposed to pointing fingers and yelling and screaming. So we will definitely make sure we maintain that level of civility. Um, and thank you for sharing. I see my wife is online, my mother is online, my family showing up, my other sister-in-law.
I did
Yes,
want to make a
Kelsey.
point that Shawnee made in reference to the mental health aspect of COVID and how it changes us. You know, we kind of run into that monotonous every day is kind of the same, especially if you're working from home. And so, you know, the normalcy of interacting with your friends, interacting with people, being able to see someone face to face has made it twice as hard for us to kind of cope with whatever mental health um, things that we're dealing with. And so I feel like COVID has definitely heightened a lot of people's, and even people who might not think that they have, think that something like this would affect them mentally. You know, once you see that you're in isolation for such a long time, you know, it kind of sneaks up on you, and you're like, oh, wow.
I have been sitting here for about 2 days.
Yeah,
in
I've
the
I've
same
I've
place.
literally done like the same exact thing day
Mhm.
after day after day. So I definitely would love to, if anyone has a comment in regards to how it has impacted them mentally, what they do to subdue that and work on their mental health during this time.
Because we are looking for solutions, not just stating the problems that we're dealing with, but also, like Shani shared earlier, some workarounds. You know,
Absolutely.
we always want to problem solve. So I see some new people joining. Is there anyone that would like to go ahead and chime in on their solutions to our isolation issues? It's a fancy way of saying quarantine.
I have a comment on that. If no one else has anything, I actually have one of my good friends. She's a therapist, and she was letting me know the other day that this is the most appointments that she's ever had in her entire career. So I think a lot of people are normalizing going to therapy and not looking at therapy as like a negative thing, but as a way to have an outlet. So for me, one of the solutions is looking into therapy and not looking at it like someone's going to judge you for it. But if we're at home stuck and don't have a way out, you have to find that outlet. And I think therapy is a great way to do that.
Which is an important point because, especially in the African American community, there's a stigma around getting mental health or mental help.
Mm-hmm.
So therapy is normally looked at like she said, oh, I don't want to look like I'm sounding crazy. That's because there is a negative stigma in our community, depending on social strata. And it is nice to know that we can go speak to someone else who has, as a profession, not to judge, but to offer their insight or just to allow you to vent, because that also is important. Now, I think,
Uh, uh,
yes,
I was just going to add one other thing for, well, good morning, everyone.
good
Good
morning.
First
morning.
of all, having high. So the thing that I want to add it about what we could do for coping is join some groups of interest, maybe some things that you've wanted to do over time, but you haven't carved out the time to do so. So during this period, personally, I've engaged with several groups that are of interest to me. Some around, I'm a writer, so I've joined some groups that are focusing on writing and authorship. And then I've joined another empowerment group. And so we have what we call Mad Mondays. And during these sessions, we actually spend time working on what our dreams and goals are and encouraging each other. And we've set some deadlines and dates to move our writing projects forward. And it's called Massive Activity Days. So that's one thing that's been working really great for me. I've met a lot of new friends, have some new relationships, and it's kept me really busy and focused on some things that I really want to accomplish.
Oh,
Thanks for your listening.
thank you. Thank you
Thank
so much for your
you.
sharing. That's my mother-in-law, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
We got to shout out the family. I see we have new people adding. Um, we would like to flow through our town hall discussion. So we're going to touch on another topic. This one I will ask in advance that we not focus on the past, but where we can go from here. So with that being said, the next conversation piece is holding our new administration accountable for campaign promises and asking what are some of the things we can do as a community to actively hold them accountable for moving our country forward. I would ask again that we politely not discuss things that are controversial about our past. We've dealt with that, I think, all over media. Today being a positive energy type of day, I do want to focus on how we can make them accountable or hold them accountable so as a nation we can move forward. I'm opening the floor to anyone who would like to speak on that.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
My name is Sharita McCullers, and I am a lifelong Dermite, 43 years.
Dermite, throw the bulls.
Um, I think one of the things that we can do is vote, and not just on the national level, but especially in our local governments, because really, the most the greatest change that we can see over time is within our own communities. I think. And our states have a lot of ability to kind of shape what our experience in daily living is. Um, and so I think voting becomes very important. I think being engaged in um, a lot of our local government activities, getting on boards, um, participating in some of the community discussions that are happening, like this one.
Absolutely.
Um, Things like that are the things that I feel like we need to do. I think that there is also still a place for peaceful protests, and making sure that we are seen and our voices are heard. Um, and I think that the other piece to that participation is also holding our local work groups, and our city and county folks accountable for making sure access to participation is offered at every level. There are opportunities for face to face, there are opportunities for phone participation, that information about meetings and opportunities to do things are presented in a lot of communicated in the community in a lot of ways so that more participation can happen. Having the ability to submit questions if you can't and get a response. I think we have to figure those things out and we need to ask for those things because I think a lot of times with just us being busy and doing life, we miss out on the opportunities that we would have liked to be a part of. And so I think that those are ways that we can be active members in how policies and laws are made and shape and influence our lives.
Lovely. I thank you so much for that response. I would like to add, because I see a diverse group, even in just a few people I can actually see, I do want to stress that what these last few moments of our life have shown us is that we need to speak amongst each other, community to community, without the
Mhm.
advent of social media or cameras, because honesty is what will allow us to open up communication.
Absolutely.
And for the majority of America, we don't represent what is seen on mass media most of the time. At least I can speak for Durham. We don't see that same level of division every day that we are shown online, whether it be through social media platforms or through television or even listening through radio. So I do want to push that this would be an excellent time for us to, as a whole community, not individual communities, but as a national community, absolutely vote in our local elections, which I have seen do actually help. They do push a certain agenda forward that we need to control. But on top of that, it will show the unity that we say we are speaking for. So if we speak as one united voice, there is no, well, for Black America, I mean, there absolutely are these divisions. I don't want to misconstrue that. But when we communicate as a group, all of our issues should be put to them as a group, united. We need to cover this, we need to cover that, we need to cover this. Oh, don't forget this, don't forget that. Give us all a seat at the table as we discuss X, Y, Z. Um, that would be what I would ask for accountability in terms of the diversity that they're showing in Washington right now, the diversity that they're pushing for in Washington. I just want that to be respected when we show it to them as a community, and then for them to live up to what they're aspiring to do. I'll open up the floor. And again, it doesn't have to be a political discussion. What I'm pretty much asking is, what are your expectations, and how do we hold them accountable to our expectations based on what they've said they will do for us as a nation and as a community? Hot button topic. No takers. This does get a little dicey. Okay. Well, so we'll move along, and if other people join, we will reiterate. Someone may jump in on the prompt and want to backtrack a little bit. Um, the last thing we would like to discuss, or at least open the floor to discussion, is it's more of a question pertaining to Dr. King's dream. And I will say Dr. King, and I need to stress this point. I'm really tired of MLK. That's an abbreviation that's not even him. Martin Luther King was his father. If he's a junior, that would be the senior. We have to give him the respect of the prefix of doctor, because that's a degree that he earned rightfully. And we have to give him the suffix of junior because he is the son of. So when we refer to him, at least if we're going to refer to him in the abbreviation, let's call him Dr. King, just out of respect. And I always say this line: if you can call Dr. Phil Dr. Phil, you can call Dr. King Dr. King. So it's just a small pet peeve I have. I don't like the moniker of MLK Day, MLK, MLK, because it takes away one of his most important achievements and one of the things he focused the most on, which was education. Right? Him getting a doctoral degree, that was a big deal, especially at the time he did it and for our community as a whole. I'm blessed to know a few doctors, and so we're going to have two of them speak to you later on this afternoon. But just wanted to push that home. So, according to Dr. King's dream, how do you think we can further that? How do you think we can further embody his dream, and what more do we need to do? What do you think, Kelsey?
Well, for me, I think we're on a good path in honoring Dr. King's dream. As we've seen I know within my lifetime, the things that were aspirational and things that were like you could never imagine, like seeing a first Black president. That was something that it was something to aspire to, and you would think would happen, but in the back of your mind, you would kind of be like, I don't see that being a thing. But for to witness it and be able to say that yes, in this country, we had a Black president, a president that looked like your cousin, your brothers, your father, your grandfather. I think that was amazing to see a first lady that looked like your mothers, your grandmothers, that looked like you. That was very inspiring. So I feel like um, that was just one bright moment out of many, but it was a very bright moment in terms of being inspirational and seeing something that was a dream 50 plus years ago come to fruition. So I definitely say, the changes that we have seen throughout this country, the movements that we have seen in this country, and the fight that has still continued in this country, off of the back of Dr. Martin Luther King and off of the back of many other civil rights leaders that he inspired along the way. So yeah, I think we are on a good path in terms of honoring his dream. There is still a lot of work to be done, but I feel like where we are now, we have a good foundation to continue to build upon. So yeah.
I see the little ones, and I would like to hear from them as well, because sometimes the wisest words come from the youngest minds. And my son runs away.
So I'm going to share for PJ, who's like a little bit shy, but very excited about this
Understandable.
chance. So he has been thinking a lot about Dr. King's speech, the I Have a Dream speech, and also the inaugural poem that was read. And so his sort of big idea is to keep thinking about how our words are super important and ways that we can sort of keep using those words. As a parent, I've been sort of doing a lot of thinking and having a lot of conversations with them around the radical idea of peaceful protest, right? That's not, that it is radical. And even though it's peaceful and it might not, it's not a fight, not like a big fight. We're big superhero fans, so we've been talking about sort of the contrast of that, but that it still is radical and it is forward movement and sort of what that looks like for us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you, Chance. That was a fantastic insight. Yeah. The most important thing we can do is share. The most important thing we can do is communicate and be honest in our communication. And we can't be afraid of that honesty and where that honesty may lead us. Sometimes it leads us to uncomfortable conversation. But at the end of that conversation, if we are dealing with mature minds, we'll find at least some room to agree or agree to disagree. But there will be a learning aspect to it. The most beautiful thing about YouTube is that now our youth can look up the things that we studied in school or the things that our parents told us. We can now also research to gain more insight and more information on. I appreciate the fact that when we're talking about protest, and so many times the word radical is given a negative connotation. Radical is just an outside the box kind of concept. And protest itself isn't new, but it was a pioneering movement in a sense. It was a pioneering strategy that was created during a time where African Americans were asking for things that weren't being heard. So I understand that when we're celebrating the concept of protest, it doesn't always lend itself to just the racial aspect, or we can protest those things we do not agree with. So if we don't agree with police brutality, that's a universal concept. If we don't agree on the poor educational systems or educational practices that are often given in certain situations, that's a universal concept. So there's a lot of things we can universally protest on. And the protest doesn't always mean a physical marching down the street, right? Protest is just saying, I don't agree and I will not accept. And it can be given in many different platforms. So I really commend you for having that conversation with your children on a regular basis, just because it's important for all of us to have this conversation. We are all one America, as President Obama at one time said. Cliche as it may sound, we have to push forward that positive sentiment. And it's a difficult conversation, especially with our young children, because we're not born to separate.
Did you want to say something, Zoe?
Yes, my daughter. Good morning, Zuri.
Hey, Daddy.
Samir wants to say something too.
I know you guys have an opinion. Go ahead.
Okay.
In terms of Dr. King's dream, Samir, how can
Uh,
we keep it going?
well, he is a great man. He's powerful. He's brave, like me. He's strong. He sacrificed himself for the other soldiers, and he's just a legend. He's a goat. Yeah, he's amazing. I really want to be him when I grow up, like other people.
Nice.
I want to inspire other people to be like him and raise my children so they can be like him and they can follow in my footsteps and your dad and your footsteps, Daddy, and Mommy's footsteps. And I want to be together with my sister so we can both be the same as him.
Ashe, thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Johnny Moore has his hand up. Yes. Yes, Johnny. Let's see it. We might be a communication problem. There we go. Yeah. This is Zoom, guys. All of us who are dealing with Zoom, we already know what it is. Never ending struggle. Johnny, you can go ahead and and unmute yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm having a difficult time believing that the King legacy can carry on into the future, especially with what's going on now.
Okay. Expound upon that, please.
I don't think our country is in the right place right now to even think about accomplishing a lot of his aspirations and goals. I think we're far from there right now.
How do you think we can get back on track?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure.
Is there anyone that can lend Johnny some words of inspiration? Because I agree with his assessment of our position, but I don't agree with the pessimism. I think we can actually absolutely do exactly what Dr. King expected. But I can't be alone in this. So if
I can.
anyone else,
I would like
yes,
to add something to that.
yes, ma'am.
So, I'm a mother, and what I will say is that I actually do see the live in a nation where one day we'll all be together and not be judged by the color of our skin, but the content of our character in our children. I think that our younger generation um is very diverse. Our kids are going to school with people that don't look like them. And there was a time in Durham, just speaking from my own experience, that my elementary school, my middle school, and my high school were all black.
Yes, ma'am.
And our children are learning, from their friends. They're learning differences. They're learning, I hate the word tolerance, but maybe the word is acceptance of their friends being different. And I feel like that is one of the things that is pushing, I hate to go back to politics, our politics in the direction that we're going, because we have this new generation of younger voters who have more progressive mindsets going on. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the people who are shedding this the light that is against that are a lot of our older generation people who want to see things stay the same. Right. And so I would say that I think that we need to look and see what's happening with our children more, to understand that Dr. King's dream is alive and well, and that a lot of the uprising right now is a fear of seeing that happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there's always a pushback to progress, and power does not like to be shared. Excellent. Thank you so much.
I think that is important to note that focusing in on the youth and what they bring absolutely coincides with Dr. King's dream, because if you look back, a lot of people that assisted Dr. King during the civil rights movement were college students. John Lewis, who passed in 2020, he was a integral part of the civil rights movement, and he was in college. So I think it's very important for us to note that no matter your age, um, you can be the change that Dr. King hoped for, and the power that you hold is it does not it's not lost on age, and it doesn't have to you don't have to be seasoned. If you have an opinion, if you have a drive, and you have something that you're wanting to fight for, through Dr. King's dream, as we have seen, you can make that happen. And so I think it's very important for us to absolutely look to the youth, look to young people to continue to push Dr. King's dream forward, because they know what they're experiencing and they know what they want to fight for. So absolutely, youth aspect is very important.
Sure. Sure. I see some more people have joined. So we will go over again our prompts. The first one was the effects of COVID-19 on our community. The second was how do we hold our new administration accountable for campaign promises and how do we move forward as a country? And our last prompt was how do we further Dr. King's legacy and is it possible? Since we have new people that have just joined in, I'll allow the floor to be open for those comments for about 5 or so more minutes, and then we're going to slide into the next aspect of our event. I do appreciate all of the communication that I've had so far, that we've received so far, Kelsey and I. I appreciate Kelsey's input because I cannot be a monolith speaking to you just by myself. It's not a speech. And it shows that the community. Now, what I do want to stress is that we have to be careful of the narratives that separate us on religious lines, on gender lines. And yes, there are some issues with gender that people are struggling with because of religion, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, we all bleed blue in our veins and red when we are cut. We are the same human being over and over and over again. We are placed in different life situations, placed in different social strata, placed in different financial situations, but we are still one species on this planet, and that's human. So we have to think of what Dr. King meant by unity on a broader scale. We will always have issues we have to address, yes, until we have no more of those issues. But we can't rely on those issues being the linchpin as to why we can't move forward. But in another sense, decide that that is a linchpin we want to destroy. We want to say, okay, we've seen that, but beyond that, there's a more important goal, which is to move forward as a community. So thinking about Marvel, thinking about all the different characters, different diverse ages, colors, and genders. Thinking about her and I here sharing the stage as opposed to one of us dominating the conversation. Thinking about Star Trek and how, if you look at it at that point in the Earth's history, all of the old issues had been washed away and the focus was on space exploration. So it's been, this goal has been mirrored in our media time and time again. Even with Star Wars, luckily, they've started to add more people of color into the narrative because that was one of my biggest questions. Okay, where did all the black people go in space? So I love the fact that we have this open forum and we're discussing these things and we are pushing forward as a people. Don't get caught up in what we see in media. Listen to the people around you. Okay, if your neighbors are getting along with you and you're getting along with them, that's the true America. Everything else is what they talk about to try to keep us divided along certain lines, right? Which is a waste of our energy and time, in all honesty. We should have been on the moon and to Mars and should be planning going to Saturn by now. And we're keeping ourselves back with all this division because it holds back our greatest minds. So I'll leave the floor open for a few more minutes. Is there anyone else that would like to add anything to our discussion? Dead space is the killer of entertainment, so we don't want that.
I will add, hey, it's Shauna Ochoa.
Hey, Shauna.
Um, just to hit on a couple of the topics that you were talking, that you mentioned, but COVID's really impacted a lot of the small businesses in the area.
Yes.
And it's important that we like purposely make time every day to really put a dollar into these businesses. I know with the with a lot of the uprising that happened last year, it really pushed a lot of Black and brown people to spend money within their community. And not even that, but women businesses and young people's businesses. And I can't emphasize enough that that has to continue to go. That has to continue to happen, because definitely 2020 was really hard, but 2021 is where we're going to see a lot of these businesses fall out, right? Like the idea that that we're not spending, I apologize, I don't know if I went out, but that we continue to spend that. So no matter if it's just $10 out of every paycheck you're purposely putting into a Black or minority or woman business, I think it's really important, because that's the only way that these businesses are going to survive. And I think that's something that everyone should really do. And it has a lot to do with, a lot of things that Martin Luther King really emphasized in terms of the idea of, supporting your community, being in the backbone, cooperative economics, so yes. So I think it's very, very important that we all do that moving forward, and it not be a 2021 goal, but it being a life-changing goal.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, for clarification, Shauna's family owns the Palace International, which is on 9th Street. And make sure I get my streets correct.
Broad Street, 1104 Broad
Thank
Street.
you. Thank you. Thank you. See, I knew I was gonna mess it up. So thank you so
No,
much.
you're good.
And her restaurant has been family owned for as long as I can remember. So she's speaking
1989. Yeah.
Since 1989. So she's speaking as a community restaurant owner, a small business owner, someone who is directly affected, as Dr. Daphne Davis is, as owner of St. C Academy, where I work, also a small business owner, and we are affected in a certain way. So thank you so much, Shauna Ochola.
Thank you for giving us an opportunity.
Absolutely.
But yes, I love bringing up the presence of small businesses, because we do kind of forget. We forgot before COVID how important small businesses were, until COVID came and we saw just how many. I'm not from Durham, so coming to Durham and seeing so many local businesses and seeing so many woman-owned businesses and Black-owned businesses, and it's amazing. It was amazing to see, and I definitely want and hope that we can continue to keep these businesses afloat, um, keep keep giving them our dollar, and making sure that we stay in tune within the community. And it's very important that we try and see that, economic wise, COVID has been very, very hard on this entire country. Um, but the bright spot in COVID, and it's not many bright spots in COVID, definitely. But one bright spot is seeing the push for small businesses to be seen, and for small businesses to be supported. So that, I would say, is amazing to see, and even being in Durham and seeing how supportive the community is for local businesses is amazing.
Being a small business owner myself, running a dojo, which is all personal contact, I definitely want to give kudos to all of my students who have bared with me and continue to train with me as we go online and use Zoom when we can, and meet in my driveway for those who are comfortable with the distancing. It absolutely has affected us, but we have to remember it's a financial effect. It's also a psychological effect, because those service-based businesses rely on interaction, right? And that interaction is something that is human. We are at the 11:45 mark. I do want to give you about 5 minutes to stretch your legs and grab a snack. We are going to kick off our entertainment portion in a second. If anyone has any closing statements, suggestions, feelings, or ideas, I'll open the floor one more time.
Hi, I'm Dr. Davis, and I just want to say thanks for creating this platform and finding a way to do this virtually. I really missed this year's an opportunity to attend any of the Dr. King events, and it's just so important for us to remember him. I was listening to Roland Martin this morning, and they were saying that there's this movie that's going to come out that could really discredit his character, but I hope that we are able to remember what this man has done for our community and the people who he was able to energize, and the people who energized him to push this narrative, and remember all that he did. It wasn't just voting rights, it was economics, it was housing. So there were so many, those tiers affect everybody, no matter what racial group you are, to have access to these things. And so he's a pivotal person. We should never forget the works that he did, and continue to press forward. And that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ashay, thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much for participating. Don't go anywhere, as they say. Grab a little snack, get the kids nice and calm. We're going to start moving, and then we're going to hear some brilliant, brilliant spoken word going along with what we just heard during the inauguration. So if you loved poetry and you loved that reading, you're going to absolutely enjoy what we have lined up for you. And we're going to kick things off with a lot of moving around. So 5 minutes, take a little break, grab a little snack. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you. I go. I go. I'm aware that we had some technical difficulties in terms of hearing Lift Every Voice, so we will come back to that because that's our anthem and we got to do that. But right now, we're going to slide into our spoken word. Now, there is no best for last because all three of these brothers are phenomenal in their own right. I'm going to start at the top and work down to the bottom. But ain't no bottom and ain't no top. Ain't nothing but everybody up here. Shout out to Church, the poet. Shout out to Desan Ahanu. And shout out to Pierce Freelon, who is one of our councilmen. So first up the bat, ladies and gentlemen, we have my man Church, the poet. These brothers have single-handedly held down the open mic and spoken word spot when everybody else was running away. Church is still killing it. You can catch him at the complex. He's forever doing work. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Church the poet.
Hey, how's everyone doing? I hope you all are doing great today. Want to thank Zay for inviting me, along with my brothers, to be a part of this great event, Martin Luther King celebration, and we continue to push the legacy. And I was listening to earlier when Johnny asked the question, his fear of not being able to continue. I think it's about us continue to push it, continue to make sure us as youth, us as older people, us as the kids continue to rise and keep pushing what the dream is, and that is to make sure that we all unified and one. So read y'all a couple quick pieces, get out of here, then get to my brothers to continue on to today's event. Last year we had stuff in 2021 was a rough year for everyone, and this is the first piece I wrote back. I have to be honest. I haven't been in a place to write, to hear the cries for help, to understand what God is trying to say. I thought I was ready to ride into 2021 like this was my year. This will be the year I put pen to paper and take my place over there, right here, right there in front of you. Then life hits. It changed. It took a detour down the old Southern dirt road of hurt, pain, conviction, and purpose. I wasn't ready to work through the times I'd read about biblical and hoping that this wasn't close to anything like that, till that, what we've known shifted. Made us sit in place. I think I miss hugs and seeing the whites of your eyes. I've never been able to just sit still, so I found myself constructing the memories of yesterday. How to build myself up without you. Now all I want to do is hold on to you, talk to you, converse, and read your emotions like a Reader's Digest. I digress. I'm a mess some days, but I am better on days I can hold your attention. I have to be honest, I am no tank, so I bangs my heart against the cage, hoping to break free. I have to be honest, I've never understood why my mother made sure I knew how to navigate the race of all races, humans. The fighting for equality now looks like what she lived through with her mother, my grandmother, heart and soul, my Dr. J, magic mixed with Jordan Bird. She invented Black girl magic. My father taught me how to jump the fences. Funny fences now looked at the color barriers. We're buried in my emotions and pillows until I've understood what we've been doing, how to use this pen and pad to release, pull and aim at your heart from stages. At this stage I am at now, I feel empty. Hollow, point me to the nearest therapy session, guns drawn on black canvas. I mean, blank canvases, color inside the black lines, the only way to make the picture perfect. First sign of racism. So we colored, we painted, we can't remove the marker from face, permanent skin tone, don't use that tone, stand up straight. We've been over backwards too long. Someone tell me what the world needs now. Sing me a song, tell me how to stop hiding in plain sight. Tell me how to teach my daughter how not to fear death or have thoughts of daddy not making it home from traffic stop. I tried to stop, but the tears have a mind of their own. I have to be honest, I wasn't ready. I hadn't planned to write this. I had no intention of posting this. This is me sitting at my computer desk crying my heart out and just typing what I've been feeling. My life matters, your life matters, Black lives matter, we matter. You can't take that from me. You can't stop the right. You don't have the right to remain silent anymore. Scream, yell, say something, anything. Yes, I'm talking to you. Yes, you. I won't hold it against you. Speak, talk, sing, recite, mime, play an instrument, strum a soul next to you. You are now responsible for what you do next. Not doing anything will not help us get through. Remember, I love you. Signed, Conscience. So that's my first piece. And y'all welcome my daughter. She is over here. She is joining in with us today. So I'm gonna read this other piece and then we're gonna go back to another piece. Because we are the Bull City and we are Durham, we are gonna be resilient. We're gonna be stronger. We're gonna continue to keep rising. So this piece is a short piece for me about us. We are America's backbone, the force they wreck with without cease. Without the economy, we would cease. We are broken bonds and cracked between corners. We are failed attempts at life, heaven's ghost, and with the devil's angel. We are changed. We are Black Lives Matter until it doesn't matter between Black lives, between the gunshots and baby cries for freedom. We are Wednesday prayers meeting to discuss sister so-and-so and brother you know. We are poems. We are dreams unwritten. We are death waiting to happen, life ready to be lived. We are fair is fair and life isn't fair. Pay the man. We are cause and effect. We are effect with the cause. We are shadows of the sons laid to rest. We are father's absence and mother's steady involvement. We are dad standing in the way because he felt the need to be the wall we needed to jump over. We are purpose. We are driven. We are the city of medicine. We are life. We are just that. We are the Bull City. All right, and my last piece, dealing with what we've been going through. A lot of the pieces that today I'm speaking about are about being African American, being Black in a society where the color of my skin could ultimately kill me. I am 43 now, but I'm watching the young kids go through what they're going through just being stopped by a traffic stop. And so this piece is a reflection of that. I'm numb. And while watching myself watch this video, I tried to remove the syringe I injected into my eyes, to remove the color of their skin. But for some reason, I couldn't see anything other than the Black and white situation we are plagued with. I thought keeping my opinion to myself would help me deal with the fact, but fact is I am Black. No longer young, but I'm considered armed and dangerous because I was born with a dark complexion of chocolate and fudge in my epidermis. I have to come to the conclusion that I could be exterminated because he confused my thermos for a weapon. Sorry, Fred, but I tried to sing no weapon formed of any form was found against me, but 15 shots could enter and exit me before I could unraise my hands to protect my Facebook and social media status. The nerve of those who wrote he got what he deserved. The only thing he deserved was a fair chance to exercise his right to remain silent. Funny how being told only to speak when we are spoken to only implies we want to hear what we have to say. On this day, he reached for his license and registration. On this day, he was riding on the side passenger side of a vehicle. On this day, routine traffic stop for a broken tail light ends his life. On this day, standing up for someone else causes you to die in the arms of another man. On this day, we were shocked. On this day, you pulled out the fast food restaurant only to never eat one fry. On this day, a mother lost her son, a son lost his dad, a wife lost her husband, a sister lost her brother. On this day, we hear gunshots, and now only lives matter are the blue ones. But does it matter if they were wearing black? If they were black wearing blue? The hues you see are the conflict in the story of the reds, the whites, and the blue. Question, have you ever noticed the color of sirens, red, white, and blue? Question, how often you check your rearview mirror? Question, what color is the plate that the thin blue line is on? Black. I wonder, if firefighters' lives matter, can they use the red for the Indians as well? I'm afraid. Because honestly, I fear for every black male, young, old, middle class, rich, poor, gay, straight, light skin or dark skin, tall or short, because when you're pulled over or stopped for questioning, they will only say African American down. Then when they finally make the call. I want to thank y'all for listening. Again, thank you, Zaid, for allowing me to be here. For those that don't know and also are looking for a place, I actually run a spot now called The Complex, the old Playground Studios. It's an event space. We have a recording studio. We have photography. I do graphics out of here. You can rent the space for birthday parties as well during the COVID situation. And also, if you want to get opportunity, if you see my shirt, let me turn the light down. It says Bull City. So if any of you all were interested, I actually have Bull City masks just like these. Inbox me at Church DA Poet on Instagram. Get yourself a Bull City shirt, a mask, because we are Bull City strong. We got to represent and rise together. All right. Well, thank y'all. Zay, appreciate you.
God bless. Thank you so much, church. Thank you so much. The brothers always show up. The brothers always show up. So in honor of the Bull City, we're going to throw the bulls up, which brings us to our next artist. We want to give our hands up in the air one more time for Brother Church. Hands up in the air one more time for Brother Church. All right. Now we're going to keep things flowing. The next guy coming up, the next brother coming up, the next artist coming up actually originated throwing up the bulls. I remember I was there when he recorded it. I worked with him on the song. So now he's gone from young brother, young activist, young student to father, aspiring mayoral candidate, and now city councilman. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you Pierce Freelon and his daughter, Daddy Daughter Day.
Playing video games in the basement. And then when we turned the TV on, we heard a little something. We heard a little something. Alan, can you help me out? Ooh, that's right. Lance, what you got for him? This is for all the Rugrats out there. And guess what? I brought a little Rugrat of my own. Stella, my daughter. Why don't you come out here for this one? Stella, is it cool if we take everybody on a Daddy Daughter Day?
Daddy Daughter Day.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. It goes Daddy Daughter Day. We're gonna teach y'all some choreography. It goes like this. Up,
Down, right, crisscross. Up, down, right, down, right, crisscross. Up, down, right, crisscross.
We on a Daddy Daughter Day now. Daddy Daughter Day. Your turn.
Daddy Daughter Day now. Daddy Daughter Day.
We on a Daddy Daughter Day now. Daddy Daughter Day. Come on.
Daddy Daughter Day now. Daddy Daughter Day.
I said Daddy Daughter Day. Hey, Daddy Daughter Day. Come on.
Daddy Daughter Day. Daddy Daughter Day.
Okay, Daddy Daughter Day now. Daddy Daughter Day. You ready?
Daddy Daughter Day now.
Hey.
Daddy Daughter Day.
We said yeah. Daddy Daughter Day, girl. What up?
Right now we can go anywhere you wanna. Roller skating rink to the movies, chilling at the house. Maybe later on we can go get up and then the flow. Yeah, cause that's really tasty.
Come on.
Lazy, stop and smell the daisies. Do what you want.
Me and you in the car. Go play in the arcade or shop at the mall. We said,
Ready for a wonderful day.
Come on.
Sunny outside, hope you're ready
Okay, when your mama asks you how your day went, tell her daddy be your favorite. Sun is going down now, get into your jammies.
Bedtime concert
Performing at your Grammys. Close your eyes and now we're sleepy now. Come on.
Tomorrow we're gonna press rewind.
Hey, daddy da da day now, daddy da da day. Hey,
Daddy da da day now, daddy da da day.
come on, daddy da da day now, daddy da da day. Come on.
Daddy da da day now, daddy da
Hold
da
up.
day.
It goes up, down, right, crisscross, up, down, left, crisscross, up, down, right, crisscross. Bring it down for him. It goes.
Da 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 da.
So Jay Gunn couldn't be here with us today, but Stella's gonna show you how Jay Gunn's verse goes. Y'all ready? Hey, it goes daddy daughter day. It's a daddy daughter day.
And the sun is so much brighter when it's smiling on your face. Homies call to hit the bar. Tell him try another day. Rather be right where you are. We can hit your favorite place.
We can hit the museum, life and science, you see them. Animals and zoos even recognize the beauty in your smile as it radiates. How do we play and chase? Even if you doing nothing this time, we can never waste. Come on, we go and play. Me and you on a date. Hope nobody told mommy for dinner we order cake. Ice cream and chocolate, Lion King. You watched it at least 100 times just so you can hear him say.
Kuda Matata, that's what we do with our daughters. And a salute to the fathers.
Doing it all to provide a model of who we should follow. Promise to God you know where to go. It's a daddy daughter day, bruh.
Fatherhood is dope.
Hey, daddy daughter day now, daddy daughter day.
Daddy daughter day now, daddy daughter day.
Going on a daddy daughter day and some daddy daughter day. Come on.
Daddy daughter day now, daddy daughter day.
Hey, daddy daughter day now, daddy daughter day. Up, down, right, crisscross. Up, down, left, crisscross. Up,
Down,
right, crisscross. Hey, do 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 do. Thank you, Stella Pierce. I love you to life.
Thank you.
All right, you can put your.
All right. Daddy daughter day. Celebrating the daddy daughter day. Daddy daughter day. I'm just dope. I'm gonna steal it, Pierce. I'm gonna steal it. Keeping the energy going in the concept or in the vein of fatherhood. It looks like we're celebrating Black fathers because every single one of my performers is a proud Black father. Now, coming up to the stage to round out our entertainment portion is a brother who truly needs no introduction because he has paved his own path. Before, when I was in Atlanta doing whatever I was doing, he was here. When I came back, he was still here. I'm not doing my thing too much on the stage. He's still here. He's gone on to be a part of the Zulu Nation, which is huge for us hip-hop heads. He's gone on to teach. He's become poet laureate in certain places, I'm quite sure, and if you're not, you need to be. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to let him expound upon his own greatness. Please put your hands up for Dishana Hanu, ladies and gentlemen. Ush.
Man, thank you, Zaid. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. I want to first start by just pulling us here, pulling us down south, pulling us into our communities, these places that sometimes get disregarded. I want to start there. Sort of my libation is to bring us there. They call joy reckless, where dim asphalt and heavy shoulders comprise the first place the city forgot, a place where Mama's God and Uncle Lester's Jim Beam make the pain easier to forget, this place where laughter dances under street lights, smiles billboard the corner store, and hallelujahs fill the pews beneath stained glass. A place whose heroes stand picturesque on cardboard stapled to popsicle sticks or airbrushed on the front of dulling t-shirts. This place that be heavy patrolled, underfunded, bastardized because of the black and brown polymer used to weave resilience around here. It cannot be erased, cannot be bleached, burned, or bloodied less than. It can never be demonized or stigmatized into disappearing. We will never let its beauty become foreign to our eyes. Never let its taste become bland to our tongues. Never let its smell become any less than grease and freedom. Never let its sound become any less than a joyful noise, and never let its touch be anything other than a welcoming embrace home. So that's how I want to start today, start my time with y'all today. And I only have a couple of other pieces, but I hope that they resonate. I hope that they inspire and uplift. Thinking about the cause that we are all here for, the legacy of Dr. King's dream, the continuing work of all of our elders and our leaders, and those we have looked to for inspiration, for guidance and wisdom about how to struggle, how to organize, how to mobilize, how to teach, how to hold together. I want to, and you know, for all of us, for all of our allies, for all of our families, for all our comrades, I want to offer these two pieces. The first is Learning Black, and it is inspired by Jamaica Kincaid's Girl, a piece that I absolutely love. I love Jamaica Kincaid. And never stop dreaming. Nightmare is just another word for expectation. You are worthy. You are valuable. Be valuable. Read, listen, grow, become more valuable. Know your worth. Adjust. Be chameleon. Be malleable. Be bright. Be smart. Smile. Excel. Beam. Bright. Be unintimidating. Be articulate. Be well-mannered. Say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. There's pride in them dimples. There's legacy in that walk. Walk like you know you somebody. Stand like you know you somebody. Stand tall. Stand straight. Stand up for yourself. Know when you don't belong. Be mindful. Be mindful around white folks. Know when they think you out of place. Be respectful of elders. Know when they think you out of line. Be quiet around police. Know when you almost out of time. Don't waste time. Don't stop dreaming. Nightmare is just another word for perception. Work, work, work. Only way to have is to earn it. Only way to earn it is to work. Ain't nothing wrong with a hard day's work. Ain't no shame in a job. You got a job to do. Do your job. Do theirs too. Do something. Do it all. Do more. Remember self-care. Know your potential. Don't waste your gifts. Don't take your blessing for granted. Use them. Give back. Give. Remember self-care. Love. Be love. Be mindful. Everyone ain't love. Say goodbye when necessary. Say hello when possible. Be open-minded. Be open door. Don't be doormat. Remember self-care. Let it go. Let her go. Let him go. Let it be. Trust. Question. Don't be paranoid. Don't be skeptical. Trust. Trust God. Let God. Pray. Faith without works is dead. Lived. Dream. Don't stop dreaming. Nightmare is just another word for rejection. You are worthy. You are valuable. Push. Learn. Grow. Become more valuable. Be priceless. Want something. Be dedicated. Be free. Learn that commitment is both. Be committed. Know you are worth it. Know it when it comes. Be willing when it arrives. Believe. Believe in you. Maintain. There is a day waiting for you tomorrow. Be ready. Survive. Get there. There will be another one waiting the day after that. Promise to see that one too. Dream what it will be like. Make it real. Nightmare is just another word for concession. Trust your legacy. Trust your intuition. Don't be naive. It is there. Your ancestors walk with you. Know that they are there. Know them when you be them. Be aware of who it really is. Know you have seen the results, that power, that strength. Don't be narrow perception, easily to manipulate. Show up full and whole. Remember portion control. Everyone can't take all that beauty at one time. Code switch, code mesh. Give it all to them anyway. Be political. Don't be politicized identity. Be these intersections. Won't be post-racially exercised. Be you gonna answer for all these transgressions. Be respect, not respectable. Respect the humanity of others. Believe you know when someone's been corrupted. They will deny you. Refuse them the privilege. Call it the illusion it is. Beam bright. Don't worry they want to dim your light so others can shine. Remember, you always knew the sun and the moon. You gave them all they know of light. You blossom at dawn. You don't falter at dusk. Dusk is chaos to those who find it unfamiliar. Nightmare is just another word for fragility. Be sorcerer. Be magic. Don't be magical. It's a trap. Don't be spell cast. It will wear off. Don't be rose-colored lenses. Don't be escape hatch. Know your worth. Don't overcharge. Don't undersell. Never auction without appraisal first. Someone's expectation is not your reality. Someone else's tongue is not your own. Accept no other version of you than your own. Accept no other rewards than your own. Know that what is for you will be. Never stop knowing. Never stop dreaming. Nightmare is just another word for death. Don't die until you do. Nightmare is just another word for death. Don't die until we win. Nightmare is just another word for death. Live like you know we will. Live, win, live, win, live. And lastly, in the midst of everything that's been going on, I sat and I wrote this piece. I just wanted us to remember just how powerful we are and how powerful we are together. And so I wrote this: to my people of ash and soot. I'm pretty sure it's soot, but I'm Southern, so it's soot. So to my people of ash and soot. A position is not a person holds it. A title is not a person gains it. An organization is not a person, people staff it. A building is not a person, people occupy it. An institution is not a person, people make it. A plan is not a person, people make it matter. Take these things away and you still have people, which means that you retain what really matters, the ability to envision an organization, occupy a building, make it an institution, staff it, identify strengths, recognize weaknesses, adapt, grow, maximize skills, and establish effective strategy. You have the people. The people just got to have a trust and belief in themselves. Maintain the faith that when standing on a plot of land looking at rubble, there is no need to worry. As long as the people are there, then that rubble is just a reminder you need to clear the land so you can build what's next. To my people of ash and soot, we know fire. Lit gunpowder turned kin into kindling, ritual burial, the residue for resistance. The rest were taken in shackles and bundled on cargo ships. Anyone that knew how combustible colonization was sought water as refuge. Those left were set in the sun like stacked wood in the living room of white supremacy. Overseers like chimney sweeps, making sure the notes sung never reach heaven or sent signals to those in the wood who knew how to read the message along the skylines. See, we know burning because some have never cared what they poured kerosene on as long as they got to see the flames. We know, we understand, we recognize all the moments where we have seen the damage that can do. We know ash and soot can script prophecy in the smoke, see the deadening as the promise of renewal. Know we got a covenant with the earth and it will always help us turn desolation into ceremony. Just got to give our incandescent dreams back to the mother who helped inspire them. Sit at her feet as she shows us how to cook a phoenix from scraps and lay spread new hope like Resurrection Sunday. Ain't we the ones who raised glory in the clearing and turned that into a church that everywhere we are is a sanctuary, every breath is a gospel. We get so dressed up for Easter because the ongoing will to rebuild deserves an appropriate celebration. It's coded affirmation. Like spirituals taught us how to get through, this pageantry tells us how to get on. Think about the black and gray we cover ourselves in to send our beloved gone home. Don't it seem so fitting for us? I always wondered why the church house smelled smoldering, why the wailing sounded like sirens, why each tear held hand and I love you seemed so necessary. Soil got to be treated for a new blossoming, and we know what it is the work feels around here. Know what it means to call magic from the dark. Know what it means to build from brimstone. They still mad they made us craft this America and we didn't pyramid their empire and appropriate astronomy. So they shooting stars trying to understand the resilience of the night sky. They believe they can win with fire, but ain't no blaze that can take our brilliance, can take our purpose, can erase our impact, can remove our importance. We still gonna know joy. We still gonna cry and laugh. We still gonna create family and survival manuals. Still gonna dance with the same legs that crumble in misery. Still gonna succeed in the same madness they revel in, live full, be so powerful. We children of the sun will never be afraid of fire because we resilient, wonderful, charged Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 will consistently come through with the light. Thank y'all so much for allowing me to be a part of this today. Peace and blessings to you all. And shouts to all the organizers for this event. Hey, Grace.
Ashe, 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 oh. It's all about the people, the humans we are, the wonder we are, the sun and the stars. Hey, yo, we all stand tall. It's the people, the humans we are, the wonder we are, the moon and the earth, that only God comes first. Shout out to Desana Hanu. Shout out to Pierce Freelon. Shout out to Church the Poet and Daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Baba Femi. Shout out to Abria, which we are going to end with in terms of the internet, in the educational entertainment part, education as it would be. Edutainment, you see. So, I'm inspired. I'm inspired. See what y'all got me doing? Y'all got me spitting. What's wrong with you? Why are you gonna make me go there? Taking us back. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, throw your hands up for all of our wonderful artists. You don't understand that what you hear is just a piece of all the time they spend preparing it. And these brothers are doing it from the kindness of their heart and for their love for the community. This is not a monetary vibe. This is all about truth and honesty and love. And so again, I thank you guys for real on straight up humbleness and on truth. We're gonna end with Lift Every Voice. I want everyone to lift their voice, even though mine may be muffled, right? All you maskless, wonderful people, lift your voice. We're gonna sing lift Every Voice and sing. Follow along if you don't know the lyrics. You better know the lyrics, at least to the first verse. There we go. I'm not singing.
Lift every voice and sing to earth and heaven rings with the harmony of birds, let us rejoice as the so we got this without it yet, and so we decided to get it by now. 75 people on our first one. And not more. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the presence has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is
Throw your hands up. Throw your hands up for the message behind the song. So now, at this moment, we're going to take a 5-minute break to grab some snacks, get a little water, stretch your legs out as DJ Go Off puts us in the 5-minute musical session. We will come back with our guest speakers for the afternoon. See you in 5. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One more time, shout out to DJ Go Off. Good looking out, good looking out. Now, I'm gonna bring Sister Kelsey on to continue with the last part of our section.
All right, all right, all right. I hope everyone is doing great. We're going to go ahead and segue in to our speakers. So first up, I have Awanya Cesar. She is going to give us a little bit of information in regards to COVID, vaccine information, what to expect. So if Awanya, if you are ready, see if you are ready. Just give us a little hands up if you are. Let's see. If you are ready. Wanya, if you'll raise your hands, we could see. She might not be. Mm-mm. Well, we are going to go ahead and just move along. We'll bring Awanya back once we see that she's come in. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and move on.
Oh, no,
Zaid,
wait,
if you have,
we're gonna stay right here
yeah.
together. We're gonna show unity. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to table that discussion and come back. Our next presenter is Dr. Daphne Mamanoni Davis, head of St. Cia Academy, of which I am employed and work for and work with, because we all in one family together. We're gonna give you a 10-minute conversation
Yes.
about curriculum and her concepts, and then we will move on. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Dr. Daphne Davis.
Hello, everyone. And thank you for the invitation. I have really enjoyed this program. It's just so poignant and reflective of Dr. King's dream and what we would like to see moving forward. I'm very excited about this generation and the future generations of what they're, the energy is. The youth are always behind these movements, and it's just wonderful to be an elder now seeing this next generation moving forward. So St. Cia Academy is a private African-centered school, and we've been here for 25 years in the Bull City. The whole thrust behind African-centered education is to provide children with a curriculum that's centered in our paradigm. And we know that there are issues with public schooling, and most of my issues are, of course, with the curriculum and the instruction practices, because we know clearly that our children, for the most part, are not receiving the quality education that they need. And so in order to frame this presentation, I wanted to start with 3 quotes from Dr. King. The first one is, we have fought hard and long for integration, and as I believe we should have, and I know that we will win, but I've come to believe we're integrating into a burning house. So that's the first one. The second one, intelligence and character. That is the goal of true education. And then the third quote, the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. So with those 3 quotes, I'm going to address each one of them through the paradigm or through the perspective of what this means for African people of the African diaspora in the United States receiving this education. Our public schools, in my opinion, have been like a burning house for African American children. You have the inequitable learning opportunities. You have 1 to 5% of our children, of American children, are supposedly special needs, but about 15% of African American children, even though we are a smaller population, significantly smaller population in public schools, we are the ones that have a 15% diagnosis of special needs. You've got poverty, you have low academic performance, you have segregationist policies that keep us alienated from equal opportunities. So that is a burning house, in my opinion. Everybody, we pay taxes, we have been a part of this country since its inception, pretty much. So we are still denied equal opportunity to education. So that's the burning house. With the intelligence and character, excuse me, I forgot the curriculum. We have to do something in our school. We make sure that our children are reading African American literature. We're reading, our science is based in how our folks encountered their environments, how they interacted with their environments. And those things need to be integrated into the curriculum if we expect our children to succeed. With regards to intelligence and character, the last brother who did his poem, to me, really focused on who we are as a people. What is the African paradigm when it comes to intelligence, when it comes to character? We have our own systems that we still practice here in this country. You have the Ma'at, the principles of Ma'at. I have not placed myself on a pedestal. I have not worked grief. I have not stolen food. I have not spoken lies. I have not the negative confessions, which are still part of our cultural paradigm. These after all of these years we've been transplanted to here to this country, we still practice these norms. And so what is intelligence? We have to redefine what we believe is intelligence and character in our community, because you can be a smart person, but what kind of person are you? And so we see through our political system that this notion that you can have a mad genius. What does that mean? If you are crazy, how can you be a genius if you're using your genius to destroy communities or destroy the world or undermine the ability for all of us to live in a clean environment, clean water, access to food, you're corrupting the air, all of these things. So we need to redefine as African Americans, what is intelligence? Is it respect for elders? Is it elders listening and listening to the voices of the youth? Is it striving for financial gain at the cost of other people? What is it? Is it having more than you need and operating in greed because we're aspiring to be, we're accepting or practicing the worldview of other people? We need to reorient ourselves into an African paradigm of what it means, of what is service, what is taking care of your neighbor, what is loving your family members and working as a collective to achieve and maintain that paradigm instead of trying to assimilate into what other people say or other people dictate as a success, as achievement, and all of those things. So that is to me, and that is in alignment with Dr. King's statements. And so our education needs to be oriented in that way. We need to reaffirm in our children, it's your community. If you want to show me your intelligence, if you want to demonstrate your gifts and your talents, it is about enhancing and uplifting your community and not this individual, I'm an island unto myself foolishness that we have, that we see with capitalism. My third thing is critically, my third one, I'm sorry, let me go back to here. Okay, the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. One of my issues with the curriculum is that I teach the science at my school and the literature. When we open up the books, 2020, we are still seeing a curriculum that is still Eurocentric. So I only have a few more minutes, but what I want to share with you is when your children wake up in the morning and they see the sun, you need to please frame that around our ancestors were the ones who named the sun. Our ancestors understood matter. They understood the atoms and molecules and how these things integrated and created matter, and how the earth, they had their own perspective of how the earth began. They knew that without the sun, we would not survive. So now you start there. Then when they see the night, our ancestors named these stars. Our ancestors knew about tri-star systems. They understood the interaction of the universe. They named the planets. When your children see trees, understand that here in North Carolina, we brought the understanding of how to tap trees for rubber. We tap trees in East Carolina for turpentine. We transplanted our understanding of agriculture. Without us, there would have been no rice is gold, there would have been no cotton is king, there would have been no Coca-Cola, because we're the ones that had the cocoa plants. There wouldn't have been no coffee, no we had the cola nuts, there would be no, that's why I'm sorry, Coca-Cola. We also are the ones that harvested chocolate. So when we were transplanted over here, why were we brought here in the first place? Yes, they've told us we were lazy, we were dumb, we were savages, we were unfit, but yet it was our skills And this is the intensive and critically thinking. Okay, if I was such a mess, why would you come and get me and bring me over here? Yeah, no, I mean, that's the lie. And so we have to dismantle these untruths and make sure that our children are aware of the value of our ancestors and how we are still. This is not something that's new, that we are changing the framework or the fabric of this nation. We have always been the fabric of this nation, and without us, without our skill sets, this country would not exist as it is, and it would not be a democracy, and it would not be the economic power that it is, because even no matter what is said and no matter how we are ignored in the curriculum, these contributions of our ancestors to economics, to agriculture, to science, to literature, all of these things would not exist without the intelligence, the scientific understanding, the character of African people. And I'm gonna leave that. That was my 10 minutes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Davis, for your words. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for participating, for giving us something to uplift everyone. Thank you so much. So now we are going to go ahead and move on to Awanya Cesar. I think she is on now. Yes, awesome. A little bit of information about COVID, the COVID vaccine, and what people can expect during this time, getting their vaccine and just COVID in general. So Wanya, I'm going to pass it on to you.
Good afternoon, and thank you all so much. As a matter of fact, I am currently at Lincoln Community Health Center administering the vaccine. I told them I'll be back shortly. Here at Lincoln, we are trying to follow the guidelines that's been set by the state as far as administering the vaccine according to age. So we're working on our 65 and over. So far this morning, we have given 104 vaccines. We gave 101 last Saturday to our 75 and over. And we are doing what we can to cover our seniors and make sure that they are safe. We are actually calling them to get them scheduled. We're not, depending on them to call us. So we're actually reaching out to them. And we have also been able to have some to walk in. And if we have any no-shows, we've been trying to accommodate them. So we're doing all we can to make sure our seniors and those that are high risk receive the vaccine. We will be giving them out to the community, but I'm not sure, and it has not been determined when we will start that process. We do have the Moderna COVID vaccine. There's two, and we have the Moderna, which is, I've had it. I was the first one here at the Lincoln practice to receive it. So it's been 2 weeks for me. I'm still here, thank God. And I did not have any serious side effects. I did have some pain and a little swelling at the site, which is what you would get with any vaccine. But as far as any other symptoms, I have not had it. Looking forward to my second vaccine, and it's important that I feel that people need to know that you need to still continue to wear your mask, wash your hands, and wait 6 feet. So the 3 W's are still in effect, and as well as avoiding crowds. If you know of any seniors, please assist them with getting the vaccines. And we're going to follow the state and CDC guidelines to make sure that we're in compliant with administering the vaccine. Thus far, it's been pretty safe. We haven't had anyone to have any serious reactions. There is a hotline that's available, and we provide the patients with that phone number and information so that they can call in the event that they have any reactions. And do you all have any questions about the vaccine? I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have, if I can.
Hi, Miss Awanya, it's Sharita.
Hey, Sharita, how you doing?
I'm okay. So I do have a question that folks might not be thinking of, and I don't know this answer, and I've been asked.
Okay.
Does 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 the person that comes to get the Moderna vaccine administered at Lincoln, do they have to be a Lincoln patient, or is it open to the community?
Right now, we're doing just Lincoln patients.
Thank you
We
very
have
much.
not opened it because of the way they're giving us the vaccine. So we're offering it to our patients first, and then we will open it up to the community, and we will communicate with the community when that starts.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. And remember, there are 2 doses. So with the Moderna, it's 28 days. So I'm scheduled for my second one on February the 4th. So there are 2 doses. I am, hoping and praying that, everybody understand you need that second dose. So we are scheduling patients before they leave to make sure that they have a return appointment in hand, and we will also call to remind them of their second dose appointment.
Awanya, this is Dr. Moore. I have a question for you.
Okay.
For those individuals that are not enrolled to receive the care at Lincoln, can they enroll in Lincoln Clinic and then get the vaccine?
I don't see why not. That's a good question. Right now, what we're doing is we're pulling the Lincoln patients by age, and we have staff members that are actually calling and scheduling them. So if they can get scheduled and they meet the criteria as far as age, I don't see it being a problem at all.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions or concerns or?
Say, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So when you think about, what do you say to those people that have the historical information about like Tuskegee experiment, different things like that has happened with Black people, and how do you answer that particular question as it relates to trying to get people to get vaccinated and in it with the context of that experiment and other type of things that have happened to us?
Well, we try to assure them that this vaccine has been tested, and there are numbers, and I'm looking at my paper. So we actually provide them with a number of patients, African-American patients that were vaccinated in that first study. I'm looking for the number right now, but we assure them that the vaccine, and we have community, as well as we have providers here that will also follow up with them. And we have what's called a V-Safe, which is a smartphone based tool that will contact them on a daily basis for the first week so that they can check on them and see how they're doing. But we just try to assure them that, we have had, the vaccine has been tried using all races to assure the safety of it. So, and that we share that we've given out so many, and thus far, we haven't had any issues or concerns, but we acknowledge the fear, and try to do the best we can to alleviate them with as much information and provide them with whatever, we feel that would help them to trust and alleviate that. But that is a true concern. I have my 84-year-old. I was proud of them, and a 76-year-old, my aunt and uncle, they did get the vaccine, and I do share that, and they're doing well. So, that's all we can do is just acknowledge their fears.
Right, right. Okay. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah, I hope I was able to help.
You did.
Okay.
So right now is it's not necessarily, or is it FDA approved?
Now, I was told that it was, because the first week that I started, it wasn't. And I was told that it just recently, and I'm sorry, I don't know the exact date, but I do know that I was told it was the week after I received it, but it wasn't during the week that I received it. I can get back with you on that.
Wanya, the vaccines are approved by the FDA.
Okay,
They
I know I
received
was told, but
yeah.
I didn't. I like to say dates. Maybe that's the problem. But I did hear from a reliable source that it was approved.
Right. The first vaccine, which was done by Pfizer, was approved first, and then a week later they approved the Moderna vaccine. And then there's several other vaccines that are in the process, and we think that in the next couple of weeks we'll have a couple of more that will be approved by the FDA.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Moore.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions? If you all could just help me into getting the word out how important it is to get both doses. I am, and I hope it doesn't happen, but I really do want everyone to receive both doses so that you can get the coverage that's needed, and to continue to practice the 3 W's: wear your mask, wash your hands, and wait 6 feet. And also try to avoid a lot of gatherings.
Thank you so much, sister, for being a part of this. This in particular was a very important section of our conversation to have with our people, especially with the historical issues we have with being experimented on and so on and so forth.
That's correct.
Addressing that brother's question as honestly as you possibly could, because a lot of times we get the runaround from the medical community. So I cannot speak to how important it is to have brothers and sisters in your positions, both as doctors and nurses or doctors and doctors, speaking to our community. And so I'm pushing for our students to push more towards STEM, because we need to talk to each other about these things.
That's correct.
So I thank you so very, very much for your presentation. It was definitely needed. And I know of 2 people who have taken both shots. One is and another is a nurse. She just finished her 2nd cycle. There is soreness at the site. She did feel bad for a day, but just to even it out, one of the students is a white male doctor, and the other one is a Hispanic nurse. So across the board, we're seeing the same results so far. So
Yeah.
thank you so very, very
Well,
much.
I just talked to a friend of mine. She's an African American nurse, and she received her 2nd dose last week. She did say that one shook her a little bit in that she was more sore with the second one, but it only lasted a day and a half, she said. So taking the Tylenol really helped, and she's doing great. I mean, I just talked with her not even an hour ago. But she is concerned about making sure our elderly get the opportunity to get the injection. So,
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm glad to hear that it's across the board. That's been the consensus. The second shot is a little rougher, but they're both coming out without any adverse effects. So thank you so much again, sister.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for for giving us that information.
and thank you for including me.
Absolutely. We always want to make sure that we include Lincoln.
You
You
across
guys
the
are right
street.
across the street.
That's right.
Right. You guys are right across the street. So we always want to make sure that we're highlighting Lincoln, highlighting what you guys do for this community. And
Okay.
as always, thank you so much for
Okay. All
information.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Now we're going to keep this ball rolling. I'm going to let the last, what better way to end off our fantastic day, but with this next brother who's coming to speak to us. Dr. Amanufu Harvey, all the way from teaching in Maryland to teaching at Fayetteville State to building with our brothers in California, has been a part of the movement since before I was around. Even though I'm not trying to age the brother too much. Still active, still moving, one of my fantastic favorite students. I will allow him to introduce himself properly because I will not give him all the accolades he deserves. So at this moment, Baba Amanifu, the floor is yours to close out the day.
Well, Zaid, I want to, first of all, Zaid's a friend. He's my sensei. And his uncle, Sherman, I want to call up his spirit. There are two comments I have before I actually go into my presentation. So, is everybody seeing me? Okay, I sure hope so. Oh, okay, thanks, Zaid. All right. So, two comments. One, there was a comment when Dr. Davis presented in chat, and somebody said, want to know how they could get some more of that scientific information from Africans. You can go and do a search for Dogon. There's a book on the Dogon culture that goes all into the Sirius star, etc. And the other piece that I want to comment on, I also want to thank Sister Kelsey for inviting me. And what was the other one? Okay, think. Okay, I'll have to come back. Oh, I took the shot yesterday. I really didn't. I'd never get headaches. I got, on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 1 little headache, a little soreness in the arm, but I'm fine. So I just wanted to say that. Now I want to talk a little bit about Dr. Martin Luther King. I have 10 minutes, Zaid. You might want to keep time for me. Right? Dr. Martin Luther King, I had the opportunity of meeting him when I was in college. The college I went to, St. Peter's College, a Jesuit institution. You know, Jesuits are the intelligentsia of the Catholic Church. I went there on athletic scholarship, track scholarship. At that time, there were 3 of us in the whole college, 3 Black folk in the whole college. So Dr. King came to visit. You know, they had a reception for him and they invited, I don't remember the other 2 brothers coming, but they did invite me. And I had the opportunity to meet Dr. King. I also want to address at least Dorothy Height. Dorothy Height was a key member of that group of people, especially who put on the March on Washington. So often some of the female contributors to the movement aren't mentioned. Dorothy Height and I were good friends, and I did some work with Dorothy Height. For all of those young people, look up Dorothy Height. Key person, whether you're male or female, you should at least look her up. But there were other people who were involved in that, you know. Judy Richardson, well, she's a little younger, but SNCC. Duke also has, if you go on to Duke, there's a link on SNCC, and SNCC has interviews. SNCC is Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. SNCC and CORE, Congress of Racial Equality, were the two organizations that really enlisted Black people to vote. Their focus was on black voting. You don't get that sense when you watch the movie Selma, but it was SNCC and CORE. So let me talk a little bit. You cannot talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, because the organization that he was involved in the head of, SCLC, so you have to also talk about the Nation of Islam. That is, you talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, you talk about Malcolm X. Why? Let me juxtapose those two organizations and how this government dealt with them. Of course, the Nation of Islam, this is before Malcolm left and became Malik al-Shabazz. But these are two opposite organizations. The Nation of Islam said, by any means necessary, we will do whatever. So Martin Luther King, SCLC, Southern Leadership Conference, the government said, who do you want? This movement is going on. This modern day movement for justice and equality is going on. You can't stop it. So the government starts focusing on Dr. King because they definitely did not want regular, ordinary Black folk to join with the Nation of Islam, right? So you really have to talk about both of those organizations if you're talking about the movement. So we talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, but we really have to talk about the movement and organizations as such. You know, I had the opportunity, like I said, to meet Dr. King. I also had the opportunity to be involved in some movement. When Malcolm was killed, if you look at, and you can see a picture of Malcolm behind me. If you look at Haley's book on the biography of Malcolm X, in the picture section, there's an Asian woman who's leaning over Malcolm's body as he was shot down in the Audubon Ballroom. That lady, I had the opportunity to meet her, and about 2 weeks after Malcolm was killed, we went up to her apartment. So I'm just, and had the opportunity to talk with her about her involvement in that movement, especially in terms of Malcolm after, he leaves the Nation of Islam. And I also knew one of Malcolm's bodyguards. His name was George Washington. This was after Malcolm leaves the nation. And so Malcolm and Dr. King, both of them very much influenced me. And they influenced me in terms of pushing me to be involved in change, to be involved in looking at what happens to Black folk and how we can make a difference, pushing for civil rights. Sometimes in organizations, a lot of times independently. Myself and a brother by the name of Robert Williams, not the Robert Williams from North Carolina, but in California, put on the first African Liberation Day. And I talk about me, but I talk about me in context of movement and how important it is for people to be involved at some level, to some degree, in the movement for change, that we can't leave it up to somebody else. Because Martin never left it to anybody else. Martin always knew that he was vulnerable, So Martin starts out talking about the civil rights. He said civil rights. He didn't just say rights for Black folk. He said civil rights. Martin grows over, the short years that he lives, and says, we have to look at the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War is unjust. It's unright. So he begins to look at human rights. What gets Martin killed? Even his close associates were saying, Martin, you shouldn't move that way. But Martin grew. Martin grew in spirit. Martin now becomes a spiritual person, not just a religious person, but a spiritual person and a humanist. He looks at the human concerns for everybody. You know, what is happening throughout the world, and that the US leads in some of the oppression of people, leads in much of the oppression of people, not just the US, but the history of European countries. So Martin now becomes a universal humanist. And I say that now he becomes deep into his own spiritual development, which is key. So and because of Martin, I had the chance, as some of you know, I'll think of the brother's name in a minute. I'm rushing through this. I began to work with Ben Chavis, and I worked with him out of the DC office. And then on a national level, I wrote white papers for him. I developed conferences for Ben. So, and Ben, and you know, that was a rare opportunity because the Commission for Racial Justice funded, and that was the UCC church. They funded a lot of programs like the Temple of Black Madonna when it first began to came out to develop. So they were really into this cultural change piece. Leonard Dunstan, a good friend of mine who was the head of New York's youth services, the state of New York, introduced me to Ben. And I say this me, but in conjunction with these organizations that have always, that some of them existed before even Black Lives Matter. And you can see, and I'm not knocking Black Lives Matter at all. You can see the development. And at this point, I guess, maybe I can do this, I'm not sure. I would also say to people, I published a book not too long ago, and it's a reader on Afrocentric theory and practice. Let's see if I can pull it up on share screen. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, you disabled. All right. Okay, that's okay. But if you contact me, and I'll give you Henry Paul, HenryPaul 70a@gmail.com. I'd be happy to give you the flyer on the book. No. What else? Okay, I know I'm running out of time. I got about 2 minutes.
We can share your screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me see if I can pull it up. Oh, here it is. Yeah, that's the book. It tells you how to get in touch with me. And I've been doing it. And Zaid said, okay, Amanifu. Zaid and I become really good friends, and we have great discussions. But one of the things that I wanted to say, I can send this out and you can look at it. What I did with the book was real. Oh, I talked about different programs in the books, theories, etc. But I'm also doing training from a humanistic paradigm, which I developed for educators, mental health folk, and even corporations. And there's an agency here in Durham called Durham Ministries that we'll be beginning in the next month to train them from this humanistic perspective. And it's a new paradigm. It's another paradigm that needs to be taught in schools. And I say that especially in schools, you know, colleges, undergrad, grad, etc., because this paradigm is comparable to a Eurocentric paradigm. It looks at another perspective in child development, like earlier when Dr. Davis was talking. Yes, we need to look at other paradigms because even children develop differently than what's laid out in that Eurocentric paradigm. I'm gonna give you a quick example. Quick, because I know I'm going over time. Quick example is that from a Eurocentric paradigm, say children are born carte blanche, meaning that they know nothing at all. But if you look at Amos Wilson's work and go and look at especially psychological development of Black children and Hale's work, and there are other people's work, you can see that their perspective and the perspective from this Afrocentric paradigm and this humanistic paradigm is that children are born with all the the ability to be critical and analytical thinkers. So you don't have to pour information in. And that's the way Eurocentrics teach. Who's the bright student? The bright student who can feedback exactly what the teacher gave them. That's a robot. So critical, so we teach from this cultural, humanistic, Afrocentric perspective, children to be problem solvers. So we give them problems, help them to be critical, analytical thinkers, geniuses. And that's a totally different way of teaching. All right. So I know I've gone over time. Once again, I want to thank you, those of you who on. I really enjoyed. I was on from the very beginning. I was on from the dancing. So I was dancing. I was on with the poets. I was on with singing. Yes, I have had a great time. And I want to thank Kelsey. I want to thank my good friend and my sensei, Zaid. All right, brother, I am now shutting up.
Good time, I would let you roll forever. One more time, y'all throw your hands up for the speakers. Throw your hands up for the speakers. Now, we're going to end this off. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We're going to end this with 3 little pieces, meaning the first thing I want to do is I want to bring all of my people from behind the scenes out here so you can put a face. So you can put their face with yours and understand this was a collaborative effort. Shout out to DPS, Durham Park, I'm sorry, not DPS, Durham Parks and Recs for always putting their best foot forward with Andre White. This is our collective, okay? This is our multicultural, diverse collective. Y'all step up, brother. Andre, come in. We're bringing all of our people on. I want you to see how this works. This does not happen in a vacuum. And if you think it does, you're fooling yourself. Come on, please. Come. Come on out there. The man, please come.
Thank you, everybody. This is absolutely a collaborative effort. This is a group effort.
Because I want you to see what we mean when we say community. It's not where you live. It's who you work with. It's who you combine your energies with in terms of trying to put forth the best that we have to offer. It does not matter the shade. It does not matter the persuasion. It does not matter who you love or who you're attracted to. I'm not concerned with that. What I'm concerned with is how we, as a community, can keep ourselves together to move forward positively. So give a loud hands up for all of our brothers and sisters involved in the vibe. Yes, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Andre White. I'm the Recreation Operations Manager here at WD Hill. We've been doing this for the past 10 years, and we want to thank you guys for supporting us over the years. Of course, with the pandemic and the presentation that we have today, there was challenges. It's different for us. I can't believe you guys stuck around for 3 hours. So, so you need some applause for that in and of itself. But everyone stay safe. And as we say in Durham Parks and Recreation, you know, we're all about health and wellness. Take care of yourselves. Thank you.
So now, don't go anywhere, because that wasn't a closer. That was just him being dramatic. At this point, anyone involved on the screen, if you have a business, if you have a product, if you have a service that you would like to promote, I will give you a quick 30-second blurb to let us know what you as our community is doing for us. It does not matter whether you're in Durham or if you're abroad, meaning other states or even, hopefully, other countries. Let us know if you have anything you want to promote about yourselves, about your business, about your company, a book, a CD, whatever. You have the floor for the next few minutes. We'll start with Joy. Yes, peace, sister.
Hi, greetings. So I'm here. I am Joy. I come to you representing Bump the Triangle. I am the executive director of this organization. We are building programming that centers around music and culture of the African diaspora. And we have a vision for building an African diasporic orchestra in our community and choral ensembles. So we're building these ensembles There are several children and youth in the community that would be playing instruments, would be doing these things, and we want to give them the autonomy to create and build the environments that will feed our cultural practices, our cultural knowledge, our heritage to them through music, and then allow them to carry that into the future. So we are in a major transition right now, in a big growing stage, and we're looking for other people who understand that vision and who are passionate about it and can help us join, be a part of our team. We have applications open now for the board of directors. We're looking for music mentors, and we call them culture bearers, to interact with our youth and our programming. And you can find all this information on our website, www.bumpthetriangle.org. And you can reach out to me personally.
And
There
Joy,
you
if
have
you
it.
wouldn't mind, Joy, please put your connection in the chat so that people
All
can
right.
copy and paste. And that goes for anyone else who wants to share. Please put your any of your contact information that is pertinent. Please put it in the chat so we can copy and paste. Thank you, sister. And let me see.
Zay?
Yes, ma'am. My mother.
Yeah, earlier Baba Hanif was on with Hanif's fashions and fabrics, but he had to go. He had another appointment, and we only have the one. He only has that one computer to work with. But he wanted everybody to know that he has a very wide range of fabrics, African fabrics and garments, and they are all available at the Haiti Heritage Center by appointment. And I don't have any of the information to put on or anything, but he might be able to do it a little bit later.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. This was great.
Alhamdulillah. It's always good to get praise from your mama. If you say it's good, then it's good. If don't nobody else say it's good, and she say it's good, then that's what it is. Anyone else, please raise your hand or just speak freely.
Zay,
Yes, sir.
yeah, this is Amanifu. I'm gonna just share. Can I share screen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let me share once again what I had up. If you give me a few minutes, I'll just talk about some of what let me go to share. Okay, what part of what I do is I created. It's not just my paradigm, but I've looked at all the information research, put together this humanistic, but it's a very cultural Afrocentric paradigm. Looks at new way how a whole piece on children, families, etc. And I lecture about it. I also have trained people. I just finished training a middle school faculty and staff in DC on this perspective. It's a series of about 8 workshops that at about 2.5 hours a workshop. It's a whole nother paradigm that I'm getting ready to do a piece at the University of Pennsylvania in their emergency after the regular session, their program. It's another, it helps transform people in terms of their personal and professional life. And it's embedded from a spiritual perspective, but it's almost like you got to go through the training to understand it. You know, so I lecture on it, I train on it, I train teachers, and I've done that. I've just finished doing that in DC. I'm working now, as I mentioned earlier, with Durham Ministries to help train their staff. You know, you and I talked about it, or you know, when we work out together. The 3 A's: affection, affirmation, and affiliation. You know, and then there are mantras to it. So anybody wants to get in touch with me, there's my information. I did publish a book not too long ago. If you get in, you can look at my email there and get in touch with me, and I'd be happy to go into how you can obtain a copy of the book. I did just put my website up on chat. So once again, I want to thank you. I want to thank Kelsey for doing this. I think it's so important to the community. So bless you, bless all of you, and everybody be safe. I want everybody be safe and take care of yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think we had one more. Let's see.
Okay, we have bumpthetriangle.org. We have Hanif's Fabrics on Instagram or at Hanif's Fabrics on Instagram. And let's see, this is
Justin Perry.
so this is
Justin Perry.
so Justin, go ahead, brother.
Hey, can you hear me? How you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor and a pleasure to see so many artists. Happy MLK Day or week, month, year. Thank you so to sharing so much knowledge. I'm a visual artist based in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've worked with the WD Hill Center before. I've done a mural on a day of the landmark for the Algonquin Tennis Center. So you can probably see it there hung up right when you walk in, and it has W.D. Du Bois and Thea Gibson and Arthur Ashe and just representing Durham. I literally just printed this. This is an example of my digital prints and digital posters that I have for sale. I'll put in the chat my website, justgeniusart.com. I do different murals, of course, different type of designs and custom wear when it comes to shoes, body paint, or even sipping paint. I also have a stay-at-home art kit. So if you like to have a blank canvas pre-drawn for you, I can supply you with the paint and paintbrushes. And these are just some examples of my original art as well. This is a MLK piece that's already framed. You can find that online on my website. These are examples of some of the jewelry that I have that is made based in with my art as well. And this right here is a great example. I'm a Trekkie. I love Star Trek. So I had a fan of Star Trek hit me up for a commission, and this represents Black love. This is Benjamin Sisko and Jake Sisko from DS9, and that just represents what I can do. So please hit me up. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year. Blessing and love and light to you.
Beautiful work, and thank you. From one visual artist to another, I'm sweating the work already. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And we have a sister right to your left, or my left, whose father, if I'm not mistaken, was a part of that tennis club. That's how far they go back. Come on now, this is Durham. This is Durham. Do we have anyone else who would like? I know, now, please look in the chat. Some people may not be comfortable conversing, but they are putting their information. So please take time to scroll through the chat and copy every single link, whether you use it or not. You can pass it on to someone else who will. Okay? We don't always have to benefit directly, but we need to promote each other more so.
And before we get out of here, before I have DJ go off, send us off with some good tunes for the afternoon, I just want to tell everyone, if you do not mind filling out the survey that is on the DPR website, please give us your opinions. Tell us how much you enjoyed the event. Any positive feedback that you all have for today.
Or negative. We'll take it all.
We'll take it. Constructive criticism is welcome.
Yes.
The website is in the chat box, dprplaymore.org. Please go on that website, fill out that survey, and we are going to pass it along to DJ Go Off. If you need her for any of your DJing services, MC services, she is available. She will be sending us off. DJ Go Off, go ahead.
Now, before we finish, I'm sorry, sister. DJ Go Off, we're going to give you, we want to give you about 10, maybe 15 minutes strong because we want to end with a video clip. It's about 7 minutes. And we really want to drive this event home with that message. So I want you guys to stay online, enjoy the music, enjoy each other, get a little snack, stay vibed in, stay locked in, because we're not done. And when it's time, we will end our entire presentation with that video. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Peace.